All right, 31. Which one? Which one? But which one? There are 8 answers. What are you doing? What? All right, he got it figured out now. Yes, you did. All right. Anybody else? Question. Now, obviously, the only one that didn't put the answer was for 31. So here's the answers to 31. I'm going to go top to bottom, left to right. So I'm going down the left side. So 14 is rational. 0.345 is rational. 0.333 is rational. Square root of 48 is irrational. Square root of 9 is rational. Square root of 7 is irrational. 0.367, there's no pattern, and it says dot, dot, dot. That makes it irrational. And the square root of 100 is rational. You got all these almost wrong. Luckily for today, we're going to talk about it again. Okay.
Wait, aren't we going to go
you already have the answers.
Wait, what's the square root of 14?
Square root of 14 is between what? 3 and 4, closer to 4. So that makes it irrational. It's not a perfect square. If it's a square root of a perfect square, then it is rational. If it's a square root of a non-perfect square, it is irrational. All right. Pass all those to the left, to the left, to the left. Yeah. Sure.
Wait, so if we do astronomy and like NASA watches
We'll be watching it for sure.
oh yeah.
But you can't take astronomy as a
What? Are you doing
All right, everybody listen up. Okay, for some, listen please. For some of you, it's going to seem like we're doing a third day of this, right? We're not doing a third day. First and foremost, I'll do a quick review of the last 2 days, which was only basically one thing, take square roots, both of the perfect and non-perfect squares. But then we're going to get to the technology, and I don't have any technology piece today. Okay, some of you already know the technology piece, so I won't be spending much time on it. Smaller, take off Jeff, please. All right, here we go. So I will quickly move through this. I will say this. What I'm going to show you today is not incredibly hard or challenging. It is brand new. You haven't done it before. Is that your homework? Or? Oh, that's your perfect squares. It is brand new. You've never done it before. Oh, it's a pain in the butt. We got a quiz on Friday. We'll talk about it today, starting tomorrow, what's going to be on it. Obviously, everything we've done so far in the chapter. Homework tonight. Click. Why are you not clicking? Notice what it says. When you read the instructions, it's probably going to say, I believe, to the thousands or the 10,000s. Oh, God, no, we don't want to do that. Okay. We are going to only go to the nearest hundredth. 100th. That's a four.
Somehow I didn't get it in the
All right. Woe unto you if you don't read this. Boy, would it take you a long time to round this to the nearest thousands or 10,000s. You'll see why we do just to the nearest 100. Thank you. All right, here we go. Oh, this is going to be a pain in the butt. All right, approximating square roots. You're like, well, this is what I've already done. Yes, sort of, kind of. All right. this is a challenging procedure today. It is very challenging. So when we get to the challenging stuff, I mean, I really ask you to really focus, hang on every word that I say. Stop me if you don't understand each individual step when I get to it. The first part's just a review, though. Don't work too far ahead. All right, so here's where we stand. We've been taking square roots. Remember, this is called the radical symbol, not the long division symbol. The number that goes underneath it is called the radicand. And then the number that goes right here is the index. We're just doing square roots. So you can have a 2 there, but generally we leave it off. Square roots of perfect squares. Remember, we're asking what number multiplied by itself is 9. All right, that number is 3. And square root symbol and square inverses of each other, they cancel each other out, which is why you're left with 3 is the answer to the square root of 9. Okay. It works great, but sometimes you have a non-perfect square. 33 is not a perfect square. This was the thing that I spent a lot of time with Caden with. So let's see if Caden remembers. Caden, give me the 2 perfect squares that squeeze 33. Well, you just look at box 1.
Oh, yeah.
What do we got, Caden? Caden, look at box 1 and tell me what 2 numbers squeeze 33. Stop. You guys aren't being any helpful for me. You're not.
Sorry.
Okay, Caden, do you see this number right there? What is that number?
33.
I want you to look at just the perfect squares. If you remember, stop. You're not helpful. Just look at the perfect squares. Tell me the one perfect square that's smaller than 33 and the one that's just bigger.
5.
Not 5. 5 is not a perfect square. Hey, Caden, when we did box 1, I said start with an integer. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I said square these. And then if you remember, I put a big box over here and I said, these are the perfect squares. These are the perfect squares. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 is a perfect square. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 is not a perfect square. 4 is the perfect square. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. These are the perfect squares. Now look at box 1. Give me the perfect squares, the one that's just smaller than 33 and just bigger.
9.
9 is definitely smaller than 33, but there are other numbers. Find 33. Find 33. Find 33. 33 is not on the list. So tell me the 2 numbers that are just smaller and just bigger. It's got to be the next one. Do you okay, you got to no, stop. Do not say yes if you mean no. Do you understand why it's those 2 numbers? 25 and 36. You sure?
Yes.
Give me a 2-digit number. Any 2-digit number. That's not on the list.
Oh, it's not on the list. 80.
Squeeze it. Give me the 2 numbers for 80. It's on box 1.
81.
That's bigger.
64.
Is that the next one down?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure you got this? This is 2 days in a row we've done this now. All right. Clearly it didn't pass over to today. All right. All right. So estimating square roots. What did you say the 2 numbers were for 33? This is why I said you have to have the first 16 memorized so that this is a speedy process. What's the square root of 25, Caden?
5.
What's the square root of 36?
Oh my.
You can count it, can't you?
Okay, now
No, I
stop.
can't.
Let me be the teacher. Kai, turn around. All right. So, Caden, we do not know what the square root of 33 is, but we know it's between
5 and 6.
Between 5 and 6. What number is immediately between 5 and 6?
5.5.
So this is not what you write on your paper. This is what you're doing in your head. We know that 5.5 is smack dab in the middle of 5 and 6. 5 and 6. Okay. If this number is directly between this number and that number, then the answer is 5.5. Is it? Okay. How far is 33 away from 25? If this number is 8, it's smack dab in the middle. The answer is 5.5. You get that part? Like if I subtract these two and I get 8, the answer is 5.5 because it's smack dab in the middle. But how far is 33 away from 36? So which number is it closer to, 25 or 36? That means it's not 5.5, it's closer to 6. So what's your guess?
5.7.
Is there anyone in here that can't do that? Do you want to know why I'm asking that? 2 reasons. First, it's on the test. And the second reason is to do the technique I'm going to teach you today, you've got to be able to make that guess. The whole process, starting with box number 4, falls apart if you can't do this. You have to be able to do this. What's our guess? What's our guess?
5.7.
5.7 is a good guess. Okay. Turns out, what is the square root of 33? Somebody?
5.7.
It's 5.7. Not only is it a good guess, it's the right guess. I could have also guessed 5.8 though, right? That would have still been a good guess. Today, we answer this question of, can we make a better guess? Caden guessed 5.7. I guessed 5.8. It turns out that Caden was closer than I was. Today's technique improves the guesses. Most people would guess either 5.7, 5.8. Today's technique makes it a better guess. By the way, today's technique is how I was taught how to take square roots with a calculator. We don't make guesses, we make better guesses. This process can be used to find the approximate value of any square root number to any decimal number. I can go 400 decimal places if I have a year to do this, right? Because it takes a while, you'll see, okay? All right, so square root of 40, who else do I need to pick on? I mean, I've been picking on Caden a lot, right? Winter, thank you. Squeeze 40.
Okay.
It's
This is why having those first 16 memorized speeds this up. You can certainly have. I got to pick on her. Sorry.
It's between 36 and 29.
Square root of 36.
6.
Square root of 49.
7.
So we know that the square root of 40 is between, Winter.
It's between 47.
It's between 6 and 7. What is directly between 6 and 7? Midpoint. 6.5. Now, here's how you know if the answer is 6.5. How far is 36 away from 40?
4.
If this number is 4, then the answer is 6.5.
Yeah.
What's this answer here?
9.
So which one is it closer to?
4.
So it's closer to that number. What's your guess?
6.3.
That's how you make an informed guess. What would be your guess if it was the square root of 37?
6.1.
You got it. 100%, you got it. If you're as good as her, you can do tonight's homework. If you're still looking at this, you're like, I have no idea what's going on, you can't do tonight's homework. Tonight's homework, first step is this. By the way, they expect you to do this whole thing in your head before you even start today's technique. So I'm just going to say, be honest. Who doesn't have this? I'm looking for hands. No one's hand is up. Genevieve, you want one?
Only like as long as I have the square roots and fine, but I just need to memorize them first.
Agreed, and that's where most people are as well too. Now remember, I said you can have box 1 on a resource card. It's fine. And the more of these you do, the more you'll have memorized. Okay. So she came up with 6.3, pretty good guess. That was my guess as well too. We're going to have a better technique to find the answer here in a couple of minutes. All right. Priscilla, squeeze it. and 4 and. You got box 1 in front of you? Okay, this is why if you don't have it memorized, it needs to be absolutely 100% in front of you. 4 and 9. Do you understand where I got those numbers from? So when I write the perfect squares, 1 times 1 is, 1 times 1 is,
Oh wait, 1.
2 times 2 is, 3 times 3 is, 4 times 4 is. This is what's in front of your face. These are the perfect squares. 3 is not a perfect square. 7 is not a perfect square. But 9 and 49 are perfect squares. So when I ask you to squeeze 5, you're looking at these numbers. One just smaller, one just bigger. That's why it's 4 and 9. You got to tell me yes or no. Okay. What's the square root of 4? Square root of 9? So I know that the square root of 5 is between what two numbers? Okay. Smack dab in the middle would be 2.5, yes? That's halfway between 2 and 3. How far is 4 away from 5? If this number is 1, then the answer is 2.5, but what's this number? Not, I mean, it's 4. It's 4 away. 5 is 4 away from 9. You got that?
Yeah.
Therefore, it's not in the middle. It's actually closer to which number?
2.
Actually, way over here somewhere. What's your guess? And it is a guess. It is literally a guess. That's your guess. And we're not going to guess 2.1 because it says 1. We're guessing 2.1 because it's really, really close. Okay, 2.1 is the best guess. It is a guess, right? By the way, what is the square root of 5, somebody?
2.2.
It's 2.2. So it was the wrong guess, but boy, was it close. Abby? No. When you square a decimal number, you get even more of a decimal number. Check this out. If I do 2.4 times 2.4, I don't get a whole number out of it. 4 times 4 is 16, carrier 1. I get 5.76. It's even worse. So to answer your question, no, you don't. All right. 2.1 was my guess as well, too. Okay, I'm not going to call on anyone else. Are we really okay with this? The problem is if you can't make this accurate guess, by the way, we were off by 0.1, but you got to make a close guess. If you guess 2.7, this technique does not work. We got to be really close, like a 10th off or so, to make this technique work. But the actual guess is not too challenging. Okay, I'm going to skip those two. This was for if I had more people that are like, I am still lost. If you're lying to me right now, you're going to find what happens when you do this homework and you can't make these good guesses. All right, so here we go. Today's lesson is on this technology and non-technology piece. Okay, all of this works great, but square root of 66, right? We think it's probably about 8.1 because 8 times 8 is 64, so we guess 8.1. Well, pull out your calculators. Take the square root of 66. 8.1 works great. Why can't we do this? But what if I said, I want you to make a guess to 2 decimal places? Can you make this guess without a calculator? How?
Just put in the math.
You're literally making up numbers. Today's technique will be not guesses. We will find out what that number is using this technique. However, it requires you to make that first guess, the 8.1. Also, works great, right? By the way, that's the square root button. This is the actual answer right here. Chi means what? And are there any bars up here? So it not only does it continue, there's no repeats. It's an irrational number. Okay. So for those of you with a calculator, round to the nearest hundredth. These 3 right here, or sorry, these 4 right here. Grab your calculators. Do this real quick. Do what? Hundredth, not 100. That means, Kai, how many decimal places? What?
1.
What's the first decimal place called, Kai?
Oh.
So what's the 100th?
So if you're adding 0.
I'm not adding any zeros.
Well,
I'm
how do you
taking
do it? Oh, wait.
I'm taking the square root of an irrational number which goes on forever, and I'm rounding to the, which is what? How many decimal places?
1, 2. Wait, but like, oh, I get it now.
I gotta record this interaction.
So 8.1, like, for like 13, it'll be like the number.
So what would be the answer for this one if you round it to the nearest 100th?
8.10?
How many decimal places is the 100th?
2.
So I need to round to that decimal place.
Yeah, that's 2.
How do we round? Where do we look?
4.
Where do we look?
4.
Where do we look?
On the right side.
And what's the rule?
You like.
What's the rule?
Under 5.
What do you do?
Stay down.
Nothing. You change nothing.
Change nothing.
And then if it's more than 5 or more,
You go up.
which one do we go up by?
2.
Correct. You got it. So what's the answer here? Rounded to the nearest 100th.
12?
No.
You said it stays. It stays.
Agreed. But the answer is not 12.
2? 10? 8.12.
Yes or no?
Sure.
Okay.
Good job.
All right.
So then what is it?
Here we go. Who's got the answers? Upper left. What do we got? Lucia. 3.61. And remember, this is not an equal sign. It's approximate. Bottom left. What do we got? Genevieve?
10.05.
10.05. Upper right.
2.2.
What do you got?
2.24.
2.24 and square root 26, Winter.
5.109.
Which would round to,
5.1.
now some people might put 5.10, but you don't have to have that zero. Wouldn't mark it wrong. Kai, what did you say?
Okay.
Do you have a calculator in your hand right now?
No, mine's.
Well, that's why you don't get this.
Oh, you need
I'm just taking,
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, mine's getting. Mine's getting.
all right. I'm not going to make fun and point out on your sheet of paper that says the same thing. All right. Pay attention up here. All right. So, is taking the square root of a number with a calculator hard or easy?
Easy.
By the way, for those of you with the scientific calculators, there's a button to press if you want to make your calculator automatically round to 2 decimal places. You can have your calculator do it for you. In my hand.
Sorry.
Works great, but guess what I'm going to say?
It does. It's not
Not
accurate.
accurate. You need a specific.
You show up on test day and
Broken calculator.
your calculator's broken.
That's what happened to Hollers.
Okay.
He actually did that. He broke
I
it.
know, I took a picture of it. All right, no, I didn't do it.
That's not my
I know it's not. Okay. All right, so the rest of the class is on how do you take the square root of a non-perfect square when you don't have a calculator or your calculator breaks. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
So, as you wrote down for your homework, the homework I believe says around the nearest thousands or 10,000s. We're not doing that. That's just too much work. We are only going to round to the nearest 100th. Are you listening carefully to me? There is no calculators. Nothing. There is no calculators with this. You have to be able to do this by hand. So no calculators.
Wait,
No calculators.
I'm
All right.
confused. You said you want us to do the calculator. Now you're saying no.
I know, but if I record the video, I start off by saying I'm going to show you 2 things, technology and no technology. I just showed you technology. Now we're on no technology. All right. Yes.
I'm still confused.
No calculator. You're going to do this by hand on the test.
What?
I haven't even taught it to you. All right. Here we go. So do not use your calculator on what we're about to do. Here we go. In box number, what is it? 4, I've already given you the 4 steps. Boy, does it sound simple if there's only, it's not. It's a lot of work. Okay. So You're going to watch me do one, then we're going to do one together, and we're going to do a bunch together until the bell rings. Okay, here we go. Square root of 5. It seems like it's such a friendly, small number. It should be nice and easy to do. Here's how it's done. Notice how small it is. That means we've got a lot of work. Okay. I mean, it's physically small because I need all the white here to get this done. Here we go. Step number 1 says what?
Guess.
We take a good guess.
Estimate the 1 decimal.
We got to estimate the 1 decimal. That's what we've been doing. So we squeeze 5. What are the 2 numbers? What are the 2 numbers?
4, 9.
4 and 9. Square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 9 is 3. Are we okay so far?
Yeah.
What's your guess?
2.2.
Or 2.1, right? Those would be our 2 guesses. Those would be reasonable guesses. Is 2.3 a reasonable guess? No, absolutely not. Because it's only 1 number away. So our guess is either 2.1 or 2.2. I'm going to guess, I already know that's the wrong answer, by the way. I'm going to guess 2.1. We've already done this one. The answer is 2.2. I'm going to guess 2.1 because it's a reasonable guess. 2.3 is not a reasonable guess, but 2.1 is a reasonable guess. Here comes the pain. You ready? Step number 2. You're going to divide your guess, we guessed 2.1, into the radicand. I'm going to divide 2.1, your guess, into the square root, the number underneath the square root symbol. So I'm going to divide 2.1 into 5. Decimal long division. Hannah, eyes open, please. Okay. 1 decimal place, so we need to move it. We need to move it 1 decimal place. For me, I always move the decimal immediately to the top. Now I do the long division. 21 goes into 50. Once, twice, 3 times. How many times? Okay. Subtract, we get, bring down to 0. 21 goes into 80. Not 4 times, that'd be too much. 3 times. Okay. That would give me 3? Subtract, then we get 17. 170. Okay.
63 and 42.
21 goes into 170 how many times? It's 21. How many times?
1.
21 does not go into 171 times.
7 times.
8 times would be what? 168. So we're going to guess 7. I'm sorry, 8. 160. 7 times would be 147, right? Okay. We need to continue this decimal, and this will go on forever, by the way. We need to continue it until we get 1 more decimal place than we need. What are we rounding it to?
2.2.
So therefore, we need 1 more decimal place. That would make it into the, I got tenths, hundredths. I need to make 1 more long division step. So 168, that leaves me with a 2. Add a 0, that gives me, well, how many times is 21 going to 20? 0 times. I got 3 decimal places. Okay, so we're not going to have questions on long division. It's just long division. Okay. You need to do step number 2, the long division, until you get 1 more decimal place than you need. I wanted to round it to 2 decimal places. I go 3 decimal places. Is everybody with me? Okay. So I got 2.380. Step number 3, I take this number and this number, and I average them together. What does average mean?
Add them together and divide it by 2.
Is everybody with me? Averaging means add them together, divide by 2. So I add this number and this number together and divide by 2. Do you agree that I would get an answer? Turns out the answer to that is 2.24. Take the square root of 5. What's the answer? On your calculators now. Take the square root of 5. What's the answer?
2.206.
What is it?
2.236.
And if you rounded yours to the nearest hundredth, you would get, boom! It is the answer.
Wait.
It is not a guess. It is the answer.
Why do you have to divide by 2?
We have to take the average of your guess and the average of what it really is when you do the division.
So you're gonna add it and divide that by 2.
Yes. Okay, hey, every time that we did this for the last 2 days, you made a guess, 2.1 or 2.2. It was a guess. This process not only gets you to an answer, it gets you to the right answer. It is no longer a guess, it is the answer. Yes. How does it work? It works because you're not making a guess, you're making an accurate guess. But remember, it's a guess, it's not guaranteed. You're off by like 1/10. So therefore, you got to figure out how much you're off by. That's what this process does. And that's why you take an average. Why does it work? Because it's really close to 2.1. How much is it off? That's what you're averaging. Okay? This is a lot of steps. By the way, it always works as long as your guess is accurate. If we had guessed 2.7, we will not get the answer. But you're not going to guess 2.7. You're either going to guess 2.1 or 2.2, and it works. Okay. This only works if you do one. Now, the long division is painful. No joke. No joke. All right. So we're going to get 2.24. What?
Why can't we use a calculator?
What happens if your calculator breaks?
How is that gonna break?
How often does your phone die?
Barely.
Okay. Your phone dies. How do you take the square root of 17?
What? How would our calculator break?
Your phone is dead. How do you take the square root of 17? Your calculator is at home. You're at school. That's why.
Use a computer.
You don't have a computer at school.
Wait, but why?
How often do I let you use my computer? Oh, never.
Actually, calculator.
All right. All right, here we go. Square root of 8.
8.
Square root of 8 is not 4. It's not even remotely close to 4.
2 and 4.
Okay. All right. Give me the two numbers that squeeze 8.
9 and 4.
4 and 9.
4 and 9.
Square root of 4 is?
2.
Square root of 9 is?
3.
What's your guess?
2.5.
2.5 is in the middle.
Yeah.
Is 8 in the middle of 4 and 9?
2.3.
How far is it away? How far is it away? It is really close to 3.
2.9.
2.8 or 2.9. I'm going to guess 2.9, right? But 2.8 might be the right answer. We don't know. We don't have a calculator or a phone. All right, stop what you're doing. This is when you listen. Are we okay with that guess? By the way, we could have guessed 2.8. Jaden, you guys are not paying any attention. Okay. Here's where the pain comes. We take this number and this number. We divide 2.9 into 8. Okay, that's step 2. I'll do the long division. By the way, no calculators tonight. Okay, 2.9 into 8. Well, this one's kind of nice because 2.9 is awfully close to 3. So we can make our guesses pretty easy. All right, 1 decimal place, 1 decimal place. Move it over, and I move my decimal right to the top. 30 goes into 80 how many times?
2.
Subtract. 30 goes into 220 how many times? 4? 4 times 30 is 120.
3.
Yes.
Right.
Oh no, that's
220.
Why?
150.
I heard 120. I don't know how.
7.
30 goes into 220 about 7 times. 210, right? It's not 30, it's 29, but we're using a friendlier number to help us with our guess. Subtract. 170. 5 times. How many decimal places do I got to go?
2.
I got to go 3 decimal places in step 2. 1 more than what I need. I need 3 decimal places. Okay. 170.
Whoa. Math error.
Yeah, that's error. Why does that say 245?
Format error. Yo.
All right, when we subtract, we get 170. 5 times this is what?
Maybe you're just
I think it's 1. I just think I left it. So 5 times 9 is 45. Carry 4. Yeah, it's 145. All right, subtract, and we get 5 250. 30 goes into 250 how many times?
3. Wait.
30 goes into 250.
5.
Where are you getting these numbers from?
6.
7.
6.
Count by 3.
7. 7.
Oh yeah, it's 7. 7.
Well, 7 got us what? 203.
Yeah, so it'll be 7.
So it's not going to be 7. It's going to be 8.
Oh, what? 9.
9 would be too much. That'd be 270. 9 times 3, 27. All right. Ignore the number that appears right there. It's supposed to be 145. Right? I think I did the subtraction correctly. So that would give me an 8. Everyone okay on it's long division, right? Now what you got to do is you got to take this number and this number, step 3, and do what?
Divide.
You got to add and divide by
2.
When I add them and divide by 2, it turns out I get that number right there. Round to the nearest hundredth, and that would give us
2.83.
2.83. Grab your calculators. I'm rounding to that digit right there, 2.83. Take your calculators. What's the square root of 8?
2.83.
It's 2.83. You get the right answer, right? Before we were taking a guess. We're no longer taking a guess. We're getting the right number. I know. That is a true statement. All right. Hey, this pain isn't going away. We got to do one. Here we go. Square root 11. Here we go. Grab your pencils. We got to do the steps.
21.
Got to do the steps.
11.
All right. 11. What two numbers squeeze it?
16.5.
What is it?
16.5.
Not 16. 16 is bigger than 11. We need smaller and bigger. 9 and 16. Which is 3 and 9. All right. Is 11 closer to 9 or closer to 16? It's closer to the 3, right? So what's our guess?
3.3.
3.3, maybe 3.2, either one. Not 3.1, not 3.4, 3.2 or 3.3. Either one would be a good guess. It will work with either one. You have to make a good, accurate first guess. Are we okay with step 1? Step 2, this number into that number. That's 3.2 into 11. We got to go 3 decimal places. You're always going to be moving it 1 decimal place because your guess is always going to be 1 decimal place. Move it to the top. 32 is awfully close to 30. 30 goes into 110.
2.
That's 60.
4.
4 is 120. It's got to go 3 times. That gives me what? 96.
Yeah.
I subtract 140. How many times? 30.
2.
Where do you what is your mind doing when you're making these guesses?
Sorry, I think my bad. I saw 14.
Count by 30s with your fingers. 30. What's the next one? 60. Count the next one. 30 plus 30.
Oh, 6.
I'm counting by 30s. 30, 60. What's the next one? 90. Next one. 120. Next one. 150. Really, I'm just counting by 3s. 150 is too big, so you go down 1 4 times. 4 times 32, 128. Subtract 12. Add a 0. Now you would think that you could guess 4 again, right? But wait, 4 times 3.2 or 32 is 128. Too big, so we go 3. Okay. I go 3. I subtract. I get 240. Count by 30s, Kai, with your fingers. 30, 60,
90,
120.
150.
Keep going. 180.
80. All right, 210.
240 exactly, but wait a minute, it wasn't 30, it was 32. So 8's too much, go down by 1, 7. How many decimal places do I need? 1 more. I got it. It's 7. I went 1 more. We're done with step 2. Step number 3 says, take this number and this number, add them together, divide by 2. I know I'm doing this quickly, but You got to stop me if you don't understand the process. I take those two numbers, add them together, and divide by 2. I get?
5.8.
Say again? Oh, good question. Yeah, it's 3.2. We add these two together, we divide by 2, we get an answer.
Wait, huh? How did you get that?
Add them together, divide by 2.
I did, and then I got 5.83.
No way. 3 plus 3 is 6, divided by 2 is 3. Nowhere close to 5.
How did you get 3.2 as an estimate?
How did you?
From the very start.
I got 9.3.
What are you talking about?
What are
The
you
square
talking
root of
about?
9 is 3. The square root of 16 is 4. It's not between 9 and 16. It's between 3 and 4. All right.
That's where I'm at.
Hey, you got to round this to the 100th place. That would give me what? 3 point what?
3.34. No, 3.31.
If I round to the 100th place,
3.8.
I look to the right. What's the number? So 3.32. Somebody grab your calculator. What's the square root of 11? It's 3.32. It's the right answer. All right. The only questions I'm taking now are on the procedures, not why the long division. What's your question? What's your question? One more time louder. I'm taking these two numbers, adding them, and dividing by 2. Abby? Okay. Some of you are going to get really lazy and grab your calculator, and Hannah hopefully wakes up for her homework. Hannah. All right. All right. Yes, the answer to your question, Abby, yes, I want to see the work. All right. Other questions about the procedures? Hey, everybody has a square root button on your calculator. It's really easy to say this, press the square root. You can't. You have to do these steps. Okay. I didn't give you 20 of these tonight for homework. I gave you a couple of them. Okay. I didn't give you 10. I gave you evens. Right? Yeah, but they're not all like this. Not all. Yes. What you got to tell me? What do you mean? I can't hear his question because you guys are talking. What do you say? Which step?
The dividing the 2 in the.
You're saying that you don't understand divide. Add these 2 and divide by 2.
Yeah, it's not 3.
Scratch work.
Yeah.
3.2000 plus 3.437. Let's add 7, 3, 6, 6. Let's divide by 2. 2 goes into 6 how many times? 3. 2 goes into 6 how many times? 3. 2 goes into 3 1 time. With 1 left over, 17, 8.
I got.
Once again, I don't want questions on the math. I want questions on the procedures. We start arguing about long division or adding, dividing. We get hung up on the details of the math. Now the procedures. Winter.
So you have to round it anyway. Can you round it before you add them?
No, you won't get the right answer. You have to. By the way, Merry Christmas. This is why I said round to the nearest 100th. Tonight for homework, it says in the instructions, I believe, round to the nearest 1,000th. Where is the homework? Yeah, 100.
We didn't do that.
All right, we are out of time. Once again, box 6, watch me do one. The procedures. In your mind, guys, think about the procedures. The square root of 20, we squeeze it. 16 and 25, that's 4 and 5. 20 is, wow, it's pretty darn close. It's 4 away, 5 away. It is absolutely almost 4.5, but it's closer to the 4, so 4.4. Okay, that's my guess. You take your guess and you divide it into the original square root number. That's 20. We do the long division to 3 decimal places. Why is this not clicking? 3 decimal places.
But dude, it just
3 decimal places. Once we have that, we take our answer, we add it to the divisor and divide by 2, and then round that to 2 decimal places. And it turns out this will be the actual answer. Not a guess, not a sort of close, the answer. Okay? By the way, if we wanted to go 3 decimal places, we would have to repeat this procedure over again. Not that I want to say when I was young, my life was hard. We didn't have a calculator when I went to school. This is what we did, right? When they said to round it to the nearest thousands place, we would have to take this answer and repeat it 1 more decimal place. Repeat this entire procedure 1 more time to get to the thousands place.
oh wait, that's why you make us use a calculator. Difference is because you.
Say again?
Is it because you want us to do it written?
What are you talking about? All right, let's see. Donovan, questions?
No, I'm okay.
Do not use your calculator, right? You can use your calculator for the long division. You can use it for the adding, but I don't want you to just type in the square root of 20 and then write the answer. Yes?
Okay.
Cool. Have a good day.
Bye, guys.